it is working right. Okay, I think now we are good. Now we are streaming and we hopefully are cooking with gasoline. All right. So, for everyone out there, my name is Jen. This is Genetics Creations, and I'm going to be going over crochet with you. Again, if I did not come through earlier, I'm still getting used to this software, so hopefully you guys can all hear me now. And if so, feel free to let me know in the chat. Let me know where you are joining me from. I love to see who is going to be stitching with me today. I have a few things lined up. And also share your projects. I had a viewer send me their project last week, the one we covered in our first class, which was the shawl. It is one of my best sellers. It is one of my favorite items. I literally have it in like 2 or 3 different colors already, and I've made it in a plethora of other ones. But I always have it with me, and I am always rocking and rolling on that one. So please send it to me. My information is down in the links below. It's also in the About section of my channel, geneticscreations@gmail.com. Feel free to send me your emails if you guys are making projects that are off of my videos, or even if you just have questions. I love teaching, and I love helping other people learn how to stitch. So, other things that are in the descriptions below. You've got several links I want to cover. I've got links for items. So if you are new to crochet, you may be overwhelmed with the amount of different options. I'm just going to quickly cover some of my favorites. I have a link for all of these down below. They are affiliate links. You guys know the drill, but legit, this packet is what I started crocheting with back when I was a kid. It is the same packet that is pretty much still available on Amazon. That link is below. And it has a variety of sizes. So definitely a great kit. I like the Susan Bates hooks. If you guys have been with me, ooh, you see it's right on top. If you guys have been with me long enough, you will know that I'm a big fan of these as opposed to, let me pull up, this style hook, which is actually a little bit more commonly seen. Ooh, there we go, right over the white. That looks really good. But you can just see it has a slightly different head to it. They come in a lot of different materials. This one's like a plastic one. I like the aluminum, but as you can see, just a little bit different. This one has a deeper section to grab the yarn right in there. It's a little bit deeper, and it tends not to drop stitches as much as I do in this one. So this one's called, don't ask me to pronounce it correctly, it's B-O-Y-E. It's the boye, whatever. That's that style hook. More common to find that one. I hear it's beginner friendly, but I've always gone with the Susan Bates ones. And now that I use Susan Bates, anytime I switch, it's not pretty. It just never tends to go well on me. So definitely want to check that out. Yarn needles, there you go. There's 2 different kinds. I see a lot of people with the plastic ones. Yes, they're great. The eye on the needle is nice and big, and it's easy to see, which is great, especially if you have dexterity issues. This is a great winner, but I use the metal ones because they can be a little bit more slim. So I'll pull one out for you guys, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. This section, the eye, is a lot more slim. So when you're thinking about things like buttons and whatnot, this may seem all nice and dandy, but you're not going to be able to get that eye through the hole of a button, and so you're going to find yourself having to use a sewing needle, which is just really not fun. So you might want to grab some of those if that's something that's on your wish list to try. The other thing I will just shamelessly let you know about is my other addiction. It is Keller Street nails. So I just got done doing my Valentine's Day nails. I know it's a little bit early, but I wanted to make use of these hearts. And this is dry nail polish. One thing that I love about it, yes, I'm an independent stylist, but I got into it because it was one of my favorite things in the world. But I love that. I literally just did my nails before I came up here to record for you guys, and they're already dry and I'm ready to go. So the link for the dry nail polish is down below if you want to take a closer look. I know that this camera may not be focusing on them, but this one is the Warm Embrace, which is that nice like ombre color underneath. And then on top I did their clear overlays, which is the Eat Your Heart Out. So Warm Embrace with Eat Your Heart Out on top. And this one is still available for Valentine's Day if you guys want to grab that. That link is below. And lastly, I have a free tool for you guys. Let me go ahead and pull it up on the screen so you can see it. But this tool is available. Whoop, let's go back. Okay, this tool is available to you online. Give me a second while I hit the wrong buttons. Perfect. And just go down the description. It's right there. It's a link for you to download. It's a PDF. Print it off. One, you'll have a nice link to all of my information and other avenues, as well as my Etsy store there. But you're also going to get a lot of crochet language. So if you're new to crochet and you're still getting your feet wet, this might be a nice cheat sheet for you to print off real quick and keep in your back pocket and just available, especially if you're going to start dabbling into patterns. Patterns can start sounding like they are in a completely different language if you're not prepared for it. But it will have a lot of free tools for you, as well as crochet diagram basics. There's a few different ways that you can get your patterns online. Some of them come as instructions, some of them come as symbols on a graph chart, which is nice because it's only a one-pager versus something you might have to take notes on. But everyone has their preference, and they can feel very overwhelming at first, but I promise you they're not. But this tool will help you along the way. Today I thought we could work on the Alpine stitch. I actually came across this stitch because I was looking to make a blanket for my son for Christmas, and I wanted something with some texture but not too feminine. And this one kind of, like, you'll see I used it in some manly colors, if you will. He's a teenager, so he's picky about that stuff, but and it was great. I used the Bernat Blanket Yarn, which is a chunkier yarn. It's not required that you do that. Today we're going to be practicing with some basic worsted weight yarn, but it just allows a lot of texture. And I'm showing some pictures right now of how other people have used it. You can change colors, and it changes color kind of nice because it does overlap a little when you look at these things. So if I were to bring that up a little bit bigger, you can see how the colors, when you change them, they'll kind of bleed into each other, which is a real fun way to create a different effect. It also looks great in solids because it is a heavier texture, so you're adding just a little element to your pieces. This is not the same stitch, forgive me, but Google only brings up what you can. And then you have this one right here, which is just really nice. So just what we're going to be looking at, a little bit of a bobbled finish. Some people say it looks kind of like a diamond shape, and in some cases it will. I've come across a few different ways that we can do this kind of pattern, and we're going to cover a few of those in just a hot second. Okay, so let's go ahead and take you to the piece that I made so you can see that. Fantastic. So here's the one that I made for my son, so at least I can show you the chunky version. This is what it looks like with the Bernat Blanket Yarn. I know it's going to be hard to kind of see the black, and you're probably going to see dog hair. I have an Australian Shepherd, and if you guys don't know what it's like to have a dog that sheds, you're always covered in hair, so just bear with me here. But if you end up seeing that, we'll just pretend we don't. But as you can see, lots of texture coming in. We're going to be alternating in the rows, but for the most part, it's like a 4-row repeat. It's very basic. If you guys were with me for last week's class on the basket weave stitch, it's very similar. This one, though, while the basket weave stitch did not have a wrong side or a right side, it actually this one does. So you'll see this texture does not exist on the back side. Still very nice. It's clean. It's not like you're going to not want to look at it, but you're going to notice that you have a right side, and then this would be your wrong side. So just to get used to that, if you are making something like a beanie, you wouldn't want this side of your piece to be facing outwards. You would want that to be on the inside of the beanie, and this would be on the outside. So those are the reasons you want to keep that into consideration. So let's go ahead and start diving in a little bit on yarn. Now, I did mention the Bernat Blanket Yarn. This one is actually a loops and threads. It's a similar one, but it has the same effect. These bulky yarns, they're labeled as a 6, which is nice because your piece will work up very quickly. I think to finish that blanket, it took me about 2 to 3 days, and grant I didn't have a lot going on those days. It was Christmas vacation, so it made it very easy. But typically blankets can take a week or longer, so that in mind, you're going to have a lot more bang for your buck with time is of the essence using one of these bulkier kinds. But this does come with its pluses and minuses, because as you can see, when you're stitching, if you're not used to, I never do a slip knot that way. I don't know why I tried. Da 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 da. Okay. If you are new to stitching, you are going to find out really quickly that you can't really see where the yarn is going. It starts to vanish very quickly. I am using a little bit of a small hook on this one, but I just wanted to kind of show you why it might be kind of hard for a beginner who's not used to seeing or not seeing the stitches, on why this may not be the yarn you want to use. And I'll show you what I mean, because I'm going to use regular yarn. Oh wow, that was supposed to stay in front of you all. Okay, and if I'm doing regular yarn, you're going to see very quickly it's easy to see. So if you're new to crochet, the visual is so much easier with a regular worsted weight yarn than this fuzziness that starts to blend together like one piece of fabric. So you may not want to use the Bernat Blanket Yarn as your starter project if you are new to this pattern, especially if you're new to this stitch. Try it once with regular yarn first, and if you're getting the hang of it and you're comfortable with where all of the holes are that you're inserting your hook into, go ahead and start then moving to these blanket yarns and whatnot. But I am going to give us a lot of slack here. I'm just using regular worsted weight yarn. Today we're going to do a swatch. I'm going to use this pattern. This one is for free. It is a Yarnspirations pattern. I also linked this one. It is not my pattern, but it is available on Yarnspirations. But I went ahead and put the link there so you can actually get it yourself. And I'm just going to be kind of working through it and showing you how we read it. For a throw, it starts with chaining 67. Obviously, I am going to be cutting it down because I don't think you guys want to stick around while I chain 67. But if you guys are working a swatch with me, I'm just going to go ahead and chain 17. I'll probably do 17 just to give us the idea, because that should give us 15 stitches when all is said and done. So if you are completely new, you're going to want to do a slip knot. Forgive me, sometimes I go fast because some of these things are habit. And you're just going to want to bring it around. I have the dead end here, the live end to my left. I am right-handed, so you're going to want to flip that if you are left-handed. We're going to go up, and I'm pulling it through. You just don't want to pull that strip all the way through. It's actually harder to do a slip knot trying to maintain a visual for you guys to see correctly versus me just doing it. I never thought that would be that different. But, okay, so we're going to chain 17, yarn over, pull through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. All right, that was our first one. So now it's going to say first row, right side. You guys may not be able to see this, but it's going to say RS, so right side. These are some of the abbreviations that'll be in that chart. So remember, go into the descriptions, print off that free tool, and it'll have some of these broken down. We're going to do 1 double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. I probably should have added more. That counts as 2 double crochet. And then we're going to double crochet into each chain across. So 4th chain from hook. Hopefully you guys can see this. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to double crochet there. If you guys are new and you don't know what a double crochet is, I have a tutorial. I believe the link is in the description. If not, I will definitely make sure it gets in there once I am done with this recording. But that will give you a really in-depth version. Otherwise, I'll go slow. So we're going to yarn over. We're going to insert that hook into that 1, 2, 3, 4th chain. We're going to pull up 1, yarn over, pull up 2, yarn over, pull up 3. And we're going to do another double crochet into the next stitch, and in each stitch across. Yarn over, insert the hook, pull up 2, pull up 2. If you guys have any questions in the chat or you need me to go back and cover something, let me know. I do have it pulled up. I am responding to you guys. I am still new and sometimes I miss things, but I am getting the hang of this here. And we're just going to keep going across. So this is the part of live recording where you can't fast forward it, which would be pretty awesome. Alright, we're getting close to that last one. If you guys come back at the end, I'll show you my way of starting this. I actually hate doing a foundation chain, which is that first chain that we did across. I prefer to do foundation double crochets, so I will show you that once I get you guys going on this and get you some more different ways to do this. So now that we've done that, our second row calls for a chain 1 and single crochet into each double crochet across. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So chaining 1, that's just a turning chain. That is just to give us space to turn our work. And now we are at a decent height above this previous row to do the next stitch. Chaining 1 is pretty standard anytime you're going to do a single crochet row. So that's just pretty standard. If you guys are looking at, you know, how do I change this and how do I build off of this to make it my own project, just know that chain 1 is usually what you want to incorporate anytime you're going to turn and do single crochets. So we're going to do 1 single crochet. Now, again, I have single crochet tutorial in my channel. Feel free to check that out. I will put the links below. But follow along. You're going to insert the hook. You're going to pull up 1 loop and pull up 2 loops. We're going to be doing this all the way across. You're going to get a lot of repetition. Insert, pull up 1, pull up 2. And we are doing this all the way across. I'm going to start speeding up a little bit for those of you that are familiar with single crochets. Then you won't have to wait so long. But we're just going to be doing that all the way across. And don't forget that chain 4 on the end, it will count as a stitch. So we are going to want to, oh wow, let's keep missing that. We are going to want to single crochet into that chain, and I'll show you when we get there. Alright, here's that last one. It can be kind of hard, especially if you did your chains kind of tight, because we're going to want to go into this right here. But I like to grab the 2 loops. So if you turn it just ever so slightly, I like to try to grab both of those 2 loops. So we are going to, and I will try to lower this so you guys can see just a little bit better. Alright. And so now we are going to grab this one. I use my hook to grab the bump underneath to get it out of the way, and that way I can see I have those 2. And we're going to pull up 1, pull up 2. Perfect. So that was our second row. Third row says to chain 3. This does count as a double crochet. And then we are going to triple front post around the double crochet 2 rows below. I know, it sounds like a lot. That's why I'm going to show you it all. And then we're going to double crochet into the next single crochet. So let's just work it slow and not overthink it. With crochet, oh, my yarn's taking off on me. It is very literal. So with crochet, it's literal. Don't try to go, well, that doesn't make sense, let me make sense out of it. Just follow what it says. So we're going to chain 3. I'm going to try to make it a little bit loose this time because I know that it was a little wonky last time. And that's going to count. So we're going to now 1 treble front post. So a treble crochet is no different than a double, but instead of wrapping once, you're going to wrap 2. And then we're doing a front post 2 rows below. So here's our row of single crochets. We're skipping that one. Here's our row of double crochets. That's where we're going. And we want to grab that post. So if you guys caught that, I'm going in between the chains, behind, and up. And we're going to pull up 1. It's the same thing as double crochet. We just had 1 extra loop. So you're going to pull up 2, pull up 2, pull up 2. Don't worry, I'm not leaving you guys yet, so we're going to keep working through this. So then it says 1 double crochet into the next single crochet. Now here's where you want to make sure this is the single crochet that's behind our front post. So we do not want to go into this one. We want to go into the next stitch. So really make sure that you try to double check that. You're always going to want to make sure you're going into that next one. We're going to work a double crochet, which is just 1 yarn over, into that next stitch. Then it says repeat from the star across. So now we're going to do the same back and forth thing all the way across. Treble crochet, and we're going to be front posting it. So 2 yarn overs. We did not, this is the one that's underneath. Here, let me do this. This is the stitch that's underneath where we just did the double crochet into. So we want to skip this post and go under this post. So you should be going and grabbing every other post across. So let's take up where we left off. We're going to yarn over twice. Don't grab the one next to the one that we already did. Skip that one. Grab that one. Pull up 1. Pull up 2. 2. And 2. So you should see that you are grabbing every other double crochet. We're going to double crochet into the next one. Make sure you are not grabbing the stitch behind. So now that we have that, you can pull it open and you can see where you worked the last double crochet into. You can skip that one because we front posted in front of it, and now we're going to go into that one. So yarn over, double crochet, pull up 1, 2, and 2. We're trebling again, so 2 yarn overs. Don't grab that one, grab this one. 1, 2, 2, 2. And we're going to keep going across, so make sure to grab the right one, yarn over once, and on this one we're yarning over twice. I'll do a couple rows with you because the next one we're going to be actually working in between all of these. And double crochet, treble. Now this stitch, I used it on a blanket, but I have also used it on the top of beanies, and it is a good one because of that texture. It just creates a very unique look. And the more unique you are, I just think the better your projects look because they don't look like the standard crochet that everyone sees, which is usually your single crochets and your double crochets. There's not a whole lot that you see people doing sometimes. So let me get us some more yarn. Okay. So now we're going back to our pattern because we did that across, and we're going to turn. Now it's telling us to do the same thing as the second row. So this is that chain 1 single crochet across. So we're back to here. We're going to chain 1, turn, and we're going to single crochet across. That's just inserting the hook, pull up 1, pull up 2. So there are 3 different stitches it looks like you're using in this one if you don't count the chain. But it's not super crazy. That's what's nice about this, is it creates a lot of texture without it being really, really complicated. A lot of times people are afraid to try stitches like this because they think they look intense and they think they look insane, when in reality it's just all a combination of a lot of the same basic stitches, your singles, your doubles, and whatnot. Now don't forget that chain. A lot of people forget to grab that one, and this is where most beginners start dropping stitches. So either A, if you are a counter and you're counting stitches across, I am going to confess, I don't count stitches whenever I can avoid it. Yes, it bites me in the butt a lot, but you know, YOLO. But don't forget that chain one, guys. So we're going to make sure to grab that one. And I like to grab both loops because it keeps my edges just a little bit cleaner, working that single crochet. Perfect. So this row is going to be a little bit different, but also very similar to the third row. We're going to chain 3. This counts as a double crochet. This time, instead of us starting with the triple front post, we are now going to start with the double crochet and then work the triple front post. So we're doing the same thing, but we are doing the opposite order. So we're going to chain 3, maybe make that loose just to make it easy. Turn. Oh, look at that, all of our texture. Okay, so this one counts as that first stitch, so don't put anything in that stitch right there. This is going to be where our double crochet goes, and then this is going to be where our front post treble crochet goes. This is where our double crochet will go, and then we will grab that front post. So let's work it together. Double crochet, that's 1 yarn over, treble, so 2 yarn overs, and we're grabbing the post in between those 2 front ones. This is how you start getting that ripply effect. Pull up 1, 2, 2, 2. Yarn over. Make sure you skip the one that was behind this treble. Go into that one. Double crochet. 2 yarn overs, and we're grabbing that post. 2, 2, 2. Double crochet. Treble front post. Double crochet. And we're going to keep going through that all the way across. Getting close to the end. Here's another front post. And womp womp. Alright. Boom. And this last one, I noticed that we are at the end and we still have one more stitch. And I want to make sure it tells me what to do. 1 double crochet in each of the last 2 stitches and then turn. Okay, so this last one is going to have 2 double crochets to finish and keep your edges clean. So you should have something that's looking like that now. I love it. So like I said, this could be worked as a narrow little headband, and you could really, you know, put it, and it would look like that. But you could keep going and make it something a lot bigger. So let's go ahead, and again, you're going to keep bouncing back and forth. So we're in the repeat phase. So you're going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to work single crochets all the way across. Keep on going. Pretend I'm fast forwarding. It would be lovely. If you guys are watching this on recording, this is probably when you hit that double tap to skip 20 seconds. I don't blame you. But there we go. Don't forget that last chain, guys. We want those clean edges, so don't forget. I'm trying to show you as best as I can that last chain. And then we're going to chain 3 and turn. We're in the repeat. If you guys haven't quite caught on yet, you will see it now, because now we're going to go back to this row and we're going to work that one. So we're going to start with the front post treble crochet, then the double crochet, then the front post again. So yarn over twice. We're going to grab that post and pull up 2 until there are no more, or until you only have 1 more, forgive me. Yarn over once, double crochet, 2, 2. Yarn over twice, grab the post, 1, 2, 2, 2. Double crochet. Keep going across. Treble. Now I have seen people do different variations of an alpine stitch. I've told you that. In fact, I don't even think this one's technically listed as an alpine stitch, but I've seen a lot of people, it's effectively the same. The only difference I have seen people do is instead of doing trebles, they may shorten those to doubles, and then instead of doing double crochets here, they may shorten those to half double crochets, or I've even seen single crochets, but a half double crochet would probably be the better height for that. So you could replace this. This creates a more elongated stretch to the alpine, but if you want to kind of chunk it up and kind of give it more of this kind of look, you can adjust it by, instead of doing front post treble crochets, you could do front post double crochets. And then instead of double crochets in between, you would do the half double crochet. So that is how that would change. It's just different ways that you can really customize stitches once you get a feel for them. And when you start playing around with customizing, I mean, that's how we have the new mosaic stitches that are going on. Did I totally switch that? No. Okay, so... and then you go into that last one. So that is the gist of that. I totally messed that one up. Wah wah. So treble here. See? It happens to the best of us. There we go. Now you should have that. So if you are working this, what stitch is this? Hi Rhonda. Ah, I'm so happy to see you. This is an alpine stitch. It's a variation of an alpine stitch. I've seen it done a few different ways. But yeah, it's an alpine stitch. It creates a very nice texture. In case you missed it, I'll quickly show you what I made with a blanket. This was done with chunky yarn, but it creates this texture right here. You do have a wrong side and a right side, so just keep that in mind. I don't care when it's on things like blankets, but if it's on a beanie or something like that, you just want to make sure that you have the pretty side facing the outside. But for this blanket, I just rocked it. I don't think many people really care about the wrong side, right side, unless it's for certain items like sweaters, beanies, and things like that. But this is a great one. I love to do a brim on the beanie, and then I will work this as the top part of my beanie, and then doing a little pom on top. Something I may break down in a future class and do different projects with, but this is a great one. Now, I did promise you I would show you a different way to start, because I did this in my last video as well. This is just different ways to get different looks to your projects, and I hate doing this foundation chain. I don't know why. It does something to the tension. It's always a little bit tighter and doesn't give, so when I'm holding and playing with whatever item I made, I feel like it stands out and I can always feel that tight chain. Some people say chain looser. Some people even say chain with a bigger hook. So do your foundation chain with a bigger hook, and then go and start working your stitches with a smaller hook. But for me, I prefer to do a foundation double crochet. I know I've seen a lot of videos going around about these foundation stitches, so you may have heard about it or even seen it, but maybe you didn't know like why and what people are using it for. Hey there, girl. Glad to see you too, Jen. But feel free to follow this part if you want to try to play around with it. But you're just going to do the exact same thing. Slip knot. You're going to chain 2. And then we're going to start with double crochets. But you're working the chain at the same time. So don't overthink it. Just yarn over. We're going back into the stitch. You probably could chain 3 as well. I just tend to like to be a little bit on the tighter side when it comes to my edges. But you're going to yarn over, pull up 1. Now normally for a double crochet you would move through and pull up 2, but you need to work the chain first. So chain and then 2 and 2. And you're going to do that again. Yarn over. You're going to insert the hook right there. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. And then you're going to pull up 1. That's the chain. So you want to chain 1, then pull a 2, pull a 2. So you're almost interrupting your double crochet to make that chain. And this is how you can do the first 2 rows together, and it has a more consistent tension. So I'll show you again. We've yarn over. We went into that bottom of the stitch. We're going to pull up 1, pull up 1, then 2 and 2. And I'll show you how this really still works. I'm going to pick up a lot of pace, so feel free to ask me questions. I need to learn a chain and crochet looser. I think we all do. I find people fall into 2 categories with crochet. You either hold everything too tight or everything too loose, and I'm usually always holding my yarn on the tighter side. Part of it is I think I work out a lot with my hands and they just are naturally stronger, but I think it's just me trying to control issues. Just kidding. But yeah, another way to do it, again, just use a bigger hook, and it can help you kind of tame that down. In fact, when I have patterns require one size hook, if I know I tend to hold the yarn tight, or if it's a yarn that's not as slippery or whatnot, so it's a coarser yarn, I will just naturally go up a hook size just to account for the fact that I know I'm going to hold it tight. So I want to show you that this doesn't change anything because you still have your posts. So this is where, again, we chain 1 and turn. If we were doing the same pattern, our next thing, row 2, is to single crochet across. But you'll notice we didn't have to count our chains. It's kind of nice because you don't have to worry about how much that first row is going to shrink the amount of chains that you made. If you're making a blanket and you're trying to make it bigger or anything, it's easier for you to predict the size when you do this foundation double crochet row. So really great way to kind of crochet easier, customize your own projects, and also get a more professional look. Oh, don't chain into that. That will not count as that stitch. So you want to stop on that last one. Those first chain 2 we did when we're doing that front post, or that, not the front post, forgive me. The first chain 2 we did for that foundation, you will not chain into that. It does not count as a stitch. So we've done our single crochets, and then we're going to keep going to the pattern just like we used to. So the only thing we are replacing so far has been the chain 67 and the first row. Instead of you chaining 67 and working 65 double crochets across, you would do 65 foundation double crochets. Just another way to try it. So we're going to chain 3 and turn. I'll work that first set of texture here again with you so you can see it with the foundation rows, how it doesn't affect anything, but you will see that the tension, especially if you're trying this at home, is just so much more consistent. So we're yarning over twice, find that post. Why is that? Because I went into the other thing. So find that post, pull up 2, another 2, another 2, now a double crochet. Make sure to skip the one behind the did I skip too many? No, I did not. 1, 2, 3. So skip the stitch that is behind that front post pull up 2, pull up 2, another treble crochet, front post, and see, there I am skipping too many, 1 here, front post, 2 and 2. Make sure to skip the one behind the front post. Going into the next one, we're double crochet, treble around that front post, and then double crochet around the next one. So I'm going to finish this row and then we'll kind of compare so you guys can see. Again, neither one's right or wrong, so if you guys are like, I'm good with the chain, I don't care, by all means. I have been crocheting that way for years. It is there for a reason. It's not going anywhere. I just know after using the foundation double crochets and the foundation single crochets and all of the various ways, I just haven't really gone back. So as you can see, they both look the same, but hard to kind of show you, but this kind of has a more rigid, it doesn't stretch, it'll stretch and then stop, whereas this one, it kind of stretches more and it's more consistent with the rest of the project. So if you guys haven't tried foundation stitches, I really encourage you to give it a try. The only thing you're going to find is sometimes having a slightly extra spot right here, but once the project is big enough, you don't see it. You don't. I mean, it looks just like these normal bumps that are going to be consistent throughout your project. So you've got the same look there, and again, if you're not sure how long you want to make something, when you start with a chain, you'll end up with a chain this long, and when you work that first row across, it'll shrink, and it's really hard to predict all the time how much it'll shrink, so usually we wing it and we hope for the best, right? Well, if you're working these foundation stitches instead, you can go all the way across, and it will still be that length because you've worked the first and second row together, if you will, the chain along with that first set of stitches. So there's no shrinkage that you're going to have to worry about. So just something else to consider if you guys are out there and wanting some tips and tricks along the way. But this is your Alpine stitch. And again, like I said, you can also substitute. I guess I could show you that since I am kind of ahead of schedule, or at least my own schedule anyway. We can do whatever we want. It's my channel. Haha. Just kidding. Okay, but let me go ahead and show you what I've seen some other people do with Alpine stitch, and we'll just do one more row of single crochets across, and I'll show you what I meant by truncating those stitches and replacing them with shorter versions. And again, you don't have to be someone that like free crochets and creates your own stuff, but it's kind of nice knowing you can if someone has like certain requests and you're like, oh, well, I happen to know this one thing. At least you know what you can do and what's available. And even if you had to like do a refresher and look this up, at least you have it in your toolbox, if you will, of stitches and ideas for what you could be doing on projects. So this one we're going to do the shorter version I was telling you about. So since I'm only going to be doing a half double crochet, we're going to chain 2 instead of 3. So again, I'm no longer following this pattern. I am just showing you guys another shorter version of this stitch so you can kind of see what's been out there. Instead of double crochets, you're just shortening it. So we're going with half double crochets. And instead of treble crochet front post, we're going to shorten it and do double crochet front post. It is exactly the same stitch. This is usually what people call the Alpine stitch, but this Yarnspirations one was what pattern I've had and I just loved and it worked. So since I want to do the opposite, I would normally double crochet here. So we're going to do the shorter version, which is the half double crochet. You're going to yarn over, pull up 1, yarn over, pull through all 3. Half double crochet has become one of my favorite stitches lately, by the way, just because it has a little more oomph than a single crochet, but it's not as long as the double crochet. I've just used it in so many things. Anyways, we would normally do a treble, but we are switching for a front post with the double. So you're going to yarn over once, pull up 1, pull up 2, pull up 2. We're going to do another half double crochet. Again, this is us just playing around, so if you're like, I already mastered the first part, why are you confusing me? This is just me showing you what else you can do with these stitches once you are in there and you start getting the hang of it. And go back to the half double crochet, and you're going to see that it shortens that texture, and it does make the post just a little bit fatter, which, I mean, that might be the texture you want. It can definitely change things very subtly. And let's finish with 2 more half double crochets so you can see how they go together. Okay. And so, as you can see, these are fairly long, stretched out posts being grabbed, but with this shorter version, first off, you can even see the difference in just the height of the row. So if you're someone who wants to do the truncated version, it's just going to give you a little bit more width here. It's not as stretched out, but it can give you just a nice, this is how you get more of the diamond shape versus just this long shape. So you'll get a little bit more of a diamond feel here. That, and it might be just a little bit tighter with less gapping. So if you're someone who really doesn't like, I know some people are really against the open gaps of a crochet piece. I think sometimes it is very fitting, and sometimes it can be annoying depending on what you're making. Then you might want the truncated version, which is the half double crochets and the double crochet front posts. So there are a ton of ideas for how you guys can use that stitch right there. I'll go ahead and pull that up again in case you missed it early on. So this is what I've been seeing other people doing with this stitch. Again, this is the truncated version, so you're getting more of that diamond effect versus this is probably more that elongated version where you're getting taller stitches. A lot of texture, a lot of different ways to use it, but all of it's super fun and whatnot. So yeah, guys, I've covered a lot. I don't see any questions at this point other than what stitch it was, and again, we were working on the Alpine stitch. Next week, I don't have anything specifically planned. I've thought about a few different things. I've thought about maybe turning one of these into a headband. I've also thought about going into maybe a Suzette stitch or something else just to give you guys some more textured things. But I'd love to hear from you guys on what you want to learn. So maybe you have a pattern out there you've been toying with and you want help getting past a certain part. Maybe you have some other, like, we could always do granny squares. We can do flowers. I know those are big. Whatever it is that you guys are kind of interested in, love to get this class tailored to you all, my students, the ones who are really trying to learn how to do this stuff. So if there's any requests, please feel free to throw it in the comments. I will definitely keep an eye out for that. You can also email it to me, Stuffed Animal Mini. I've been playing with a few. Oh man, I sent you a picture of some of the ones that were not turning out so good. Oh, I have to find that other one for you because it's hilarious. But I'll keep an eye out on a few of those. And flowers, yeah, I've been thinking about doing a few flowers, especially the granny square style ones because they make some really cute coasters out of them that are kind of nice. So definitely send it my way. Put it in the comments, or definitely email it geneticscreations@gmail.com. Aside from that, I think I got you guys all the links. The free tool is in the description. The link to my Etsy shop. I know we didn't cover any patterns that I have on sale there, but I do have patterns for sale, and a lot of them are beginner friendly, so definitely check out the Etsy shop. Everything I crochet ends up on sale there as well. So feel free to share it, let a friend know and whatnot, and then we'll go from there. Oh yeah, granny squares. Yes, Jen, I found some gnarly granny squares that we're eventually going to have to tackle. I've got a lot of images saved, but we'll definitely go into those. Etsy shop. Don't forget, follow, because as I release new patterns and new items, you'll be first in the know. And since you guys stuck with me this far, you get the discount code. If you guys go in there and put Get Hooked, GETHOOKED, that will get you 10% off of a pattern or even any of the items. So Get Hooked, that is your discount code. The link to the store is in the description down below. Otherwise, I will see you next week, Wednesday, 2 o'clock. Pacific Standard Time because I am in California. But other than that, I will see you in the next class. It was great seeing you ladies, and I hope to see you guys again next week. Take care. That's all I have. Bye-bye.